For wild animals, life is all about survival. And in this battle for their own place in the natural world, each has adapted in amazing ways. Evolving unique abilities and anatomical mutations, allowing them to thrive in even the toughest environments. But for all species, the toughest challenge of all is raising their young. Protecting newborn animals against extreme conditions, hungry predators, and the threat of starvation. Each species faces a constant fight for its own existence, battling to give themselves and their young the edge over the competition. This is their mission: to survive. To guarantee the survival of their own species, the urge to reproduce is built deep into every animal's DNA. For animals like this rabbit, this instinct is literally a matter of life and death. Despite being at the bottom of the food chain, rabbits and hares are some of the planet's most widespread animals. So how do they do it? The key to their survival is a simple numbers game. Producing as many young as they can, as fast as possible. Safe underground, this rabbit is giving birth to a litter of 11 kits. But incredibly, she will be ready to breed again in a matter of hours. And the female kits from the litter will be ready to breed themselves at just 3 months old. With a gestation of just 30 days, each rabbit is capable of producing a dozen litters a year. That's over 1,000 rabbits in just 12 months. Without any predators or disease, this could multiply to over 90 billion in just 7 years. All from a single rabbit. It's this high birth rate that ensures enough make it all the way through to adulthood. But it's also the reason that rabbits and hares have become such a vital food source for so many predators. Found in frozen forests across the northern hemisphere, lynx are perfectly adapted to hunt in snow. And snowshoe hares can make up 80% of a lynx's diet. But being such a specialized hunter make lynx populations vulnerable. If a lynx becomes malnourished, she will have fewer kits in her next litter. So the number of hares born in an area can directly affect its lynx population. And if disease or climate affects just one generation of snowshoe hares, the lynx's prey can disappear just as fast as it appeared. As lynx give birth just once per year, any pressure on its food source can have a devastating impact. In their fight to ensure the survival of their species, rabbits and hares create as many babies as possible. But other species try the opposite tactic, putting all their energy into raising just one young. King penguins lay a single egg, incubated on top of their feet for 54 days. When the egg hatches, the chick will be brooded for around a year. These chicks are 11 months old. Still covered in their thick juvenile down, they look so different from their parents. They were once thought to be a separate species. And until they gain their oily, waterproof feathers, they still cannot swim or hunt for themselves. So the chicks are entirely dependent on adults for food. Fish make up the majority of the king penguin's diet, which the parents take it in turns to hunt. This fishing party have returned to the sound of thousands of excited chicks. Luckily, each young penguin has a unique call. Finding enough food for such a hungry chick can be exhausting. But driven by an innate urge to protect its offspring, for a king penguin, this is what life is all about. But one hungry youngster looks on helplessly. He hasn't had a meal in months. But the adult penguins are so dedicated to their own chick's survival, they cannot afford to help this stray. Abandoned and alone, he will not last much longer. For king penguins, guarding against the threat of starvation is essential. But for these penguins in Patagonia, danger comes in a more predatory form. With 2 chicks to care for, gentoos need to keep their eyes peeled. These young penguins are constantly at risk from these crafty caracara. Always lurking on the edge of penguin colonies, waiting for any opportunity to pounce on an unguarded chick. With 2 chicks to protect in each family, the young birds are vulnerable whenever one parent is off hunting. So the penguins must defend the colony's young by working as a team. But the caracaras also work together. And often, their persistence pays off. These hunters are also scavengers. And this abandoned egg looks like an easy target. Caracara may be one of the most intelligent birds of prey. But even with these talons, cracking the shell is almost impossible. It's not only penguins that must protect their young from these birds. Elsewhere in South America, caracara also target other types of eggs. Caiman lay their eggs in leafy nests, which gradually rot away, exposing the leathery-skinned eggs. Inside this unattended nest, a baby caiman is struggling to emerge. Attracting the attention of this crested caracara. Its savage beak easily penetrates the egg. But the contents has razor-sharp teeth of its own. It's a terrifying first sight for the caiman. And sadly, its life is cut short. Fortunately, caiman lay many eggs in each batch. Nearby, the mother has now returned, watching on as others begin to emerge. It can take hours, but eventually, persistence pays off. More and more emerge. This nest has over 60 eggs. Once hatched, instinct drives them into the water to avoid predators like the caracara. But even here, they are a target. Black caiman are the apex predator, but only when they are bigger than their prey. Right now, even a piranha is a deadly enemy to the young caiman. Finding protection for vulnerable offspring can be essential to protect future generations. Here in Madagascar, spiders have evolved a unique method of sheltering their young. All along this beach, bushes are decorated with seashells. They may look like wind chimes, but they haven't been placed here by humans. This is the work of one of the world's most ingenious spiders. Using its silk as a winch, the Oleoscoenobita spiders hoist the shells off the ground, away from predators. Then she lays her eggs inside and guards them until they emerge. To give their young the best chance of survival, animals that lay eggs have all evolved strategies to protect them. But perhaps the cleverest method has been developed by tree frogs. Here in Taiwan, this female emerald green tree frog may be full of eggs, but she's been carrying this male on her back for days. She is now ready to lay the eggs. So they head high into the canopy, searching for the perfect place. They are looking for a branch that overhangs a stream. Having chosen a suitable leaf, the female deposits her frog spawn containing hundreds of her offspring. The tree frogs remain close by, protecting the growing tadpoles from predators and other frogs. Around 10 days later, the tadpoles begin to force their way from their spawn. Then, they flip themselves through the air, landing safely in the stream. Thanks to the tree frog's clever strategy, the tadpoles may have survived this first step. But now, they are on their own. With hundreds of eggs in each batch, the tree frogs must leave their tadpoles to fend for themselves. But in the quest to raise the next generation, mammals have a different survival strategy. Feeding and protecting their young after birth. Often establishing a close maternal bond with their offspring. Baby orangutans have one of the longest childhoods in the natural world. She'll be completely dependent for 2 years, and it can take 10 years until orangutans have learned the skills they need to survive in a jungle like this. Lesson number 1 is never let go. Orangutans spend almost their entire lives in the trees. And this new mother is no different. Staying high above the ground, away from predators. A fall from here would mean certain death. But luckily, this baby was born with unique fingers that can coil around her mother's fur as she roams through the canopy in search of fruit. But wary of snakes and tigers, the protective mother can't risk descending to a stream, so must take any chance to drink. This is a vital survival lesson. Learning how to get water out of a tree trunk. Not as easy as it looks. Luckily, the mother is incredibly patient, as she'll have to put up with her baby's antics for the next 10 years. But not all baby mammals have so much time to learn how to survive. Some need to stand on their own 2 feet as soon as they are born. Here in Oman, temperatures can reach over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and some years there can be no rain. Native to these deserts, the Arabian oryx's white coats reflect the punishing heat, while dark markings under their eyes reduce the sun's glare. But to find water, they have to smell it on the wind. Traveling huge distances, they can go longer than camels without drinking. However, some females are carrying young, and finding nutrients to support themselves is hard enough, let alone eating enough for 2. Having carried her baby for 8 hot months, she has now left the herd to give birth. Just seconds old, her calf will now rely on her for everything. But exposed in the desert heat, she must get him up and feeding if they are to rejoin the herd. But it's easier said than done. Instinct drives the calf in search of its mother's milk. The calf's only source of nutrition here, in one of the hottest and driest places on Earth. But to produce healthy milk, this mother needs to find food, and fast. Which is why oryx calves have evolved to be strong enough to keep up with the herd from just a few days old. On their mission to successfully raise young, oryx calves face a rude awakening. But here in Zanzibar, the offspring of another species must run an even more epic gauntlet in the very first moments of their lives. This is a coconut crab, the world's biggest land-living invertebrate. This fully grown crab is over 3 feet across and weighs 9 pounds. Its adult shell has hardened after each molt. But when young, coconut crabs are hermits, using other shells as protection. They catch and eat reptiles and other crabs with their powerful pincers. But these monsters can also climb trees, searching for the coconuts that give them their name. But it's the way these crabs breed that's perhaps most impressive. In order to survive, coconut crab eggs must hatch in the ocean. But unlike most crabs, this adult can't breathe underwater. For this female, that means risking her life in order to deposit her young. She's carrying a batch of over 10,000 on her abdomen. To give the eggs the widest possible dispersal, the crab's breeding cycle is synchronized with the year's most powerful tides. Making the waves even more dangerous. But she needs to get close enough to shake them into the water without being washed off herself. The eggs hatch as soon as they hit the water. And the larvae are washed away for hundreds or even thousands of miles to find a new home of their own. Casting their young to the mercy of the tides is a breeding technique that has allowed these giants to spread to many beaches. But one species does the exact opposite, spending their lives at sea, coming ashore only to give birth. During breeding season, 20,000 southern elephant seals arrive on this Patagonian beach. After an 11-month pregnancy at sea, they've arrived just days before giving birth. For this female, it's perfect timing. She digs a birthing hole with her flippers. Hungry kelp gulls gather, awaiting one of nature's biggest synchronized births. Just moments old, this newborn is helpless. And the gulls are lurking. But it's only the placenta they are after. They may be safe right now, but they've just 3 weeks until they are left to fend for themselves. Luckily, the seal milk is so high in fat, they will gain an incredible 9 pounds a day. This infant is lost, but trying to find a foster mother is hopeless. He may be dangerously weak, but the mother's fat stores are also running low. And she knows her own pup's life could be at stake if she shares her milk. It's a harsh reality. But the only way to ensure their young are strong enough to survive she may have only just given birth, but to ensure enough young are born next year, she also needs to mate. The males are 10 times her size. Mating is violent and grueling. Only the beach's most dominant males are allowed to breed, but it's the only part they play in raising the young. These huge beach masters are fighting to ensure their genes are passed down. Here, it's survival of the fattest. Having mated with all the sexually mature females, this male decides the breeding season is over. And having been unable to eat for almost a month, the mothers too must now abandon the pups, returning to the ocean to feed. It could be the last time they will ever see their offspring. In the elephant seal's quest to raise healthy young, it's the females who care for their pups entirely on their own. But in one species, here on the island of Sulawesi, the birthing process is shared far more equally. When it comes to awards for co-parenting, the Maleo is a strong contender for Dad of the Year. Found only on this island, when it's time to breed, They too make their way to the beaches. Then, using his powerful webbed feet as a spade, this male begins to dig the nest. He'll work like this for hours at a time. Like penguins, these birds are monogamous. The egg-bound female waiting for the nest to reach the perfect depth. It's important to get it exactly right, as the egg will not be incubated by the birds. Instead, the heat of the sand will keep the egg warm. Get it wrong, and the egg will cook. To save time, some birds try to steal a half-dug pit. The females then play their part, laying a single egg. Then they work together to ensure it is covered correctly. The malleos then dig decoy pits to deter the egg's main enemy, monitor lizards. With their powerful claws, the monitors are also fast diggers. But thanks to the malleo's clever decoy pits, many eggs incubate safely. Finding a safe place to lay eggs is one of nature's toughest challenges. But for some species, evolution has developed an ingenious survival mechanism. This leatherback turtle hatched on this very beach. And despite traveling thousands of miles every year, she's chosen to return here to lay her eggs. This instinct is a built-in way to protect her offspring. If she managed to survive here, so will her young. And this homing instinct has played out for millions of years. She is perfectly adapted for the ocean, but at 6.5 feet long and weighing almost a ton, her flippers struggle to propel her bulk over the sand. but they are perfect for digging the deep pit for her eggs. And when it's ready, she lays almost 100. And she's not the only turtle that was born here. This beach on the island of Trinidad has the highest density of leatherback turtles on Earth. And they may be highly endangered, but right now, it's rush hour. "500 can visit this beach in a single night. And late arrivals can accidentally dig up each other's eggs. They try to bury their eggs under the cover of darkness. But with so many vying for position, some can go on till dawn, before finally returning to the ocean. As the sun rises, these vultures have learnt that the turtle's breeding season provides an early breakfast. Although it seems like a sad end, the eggs left exposed in the scramble for space would have perished anyway. There are plenty to go around, but the scavengers still fight it out. Until all the uncovered eggs have been consumed. But deep under the sand, the rest of the turtle's eggs are safe. More than 2 months later, they begin to emerge. the hatchlings safely make their way to the ocean. All thanks to the journey undertaken by their mothers. Another generation is beginning its own epic quest for survival. For all species, raising their young may be their toughest challenge. But it's also at the heart of everything they do. Protecting tiny animals against all the trials of life. And in their battle to overcome the odds, animals have been forced to evolve. To give their offspring the edge over the competition, each in their own fight for survival.